Welcome to another episode of Live with Lizzy, coming to you from beautiful, sunny today, Boston, Massachusetts. I'm so glad that you're here today. I'm going to do another edition of the backstory. Last time I did this, we got up to a little into chapter 3, so I'm going to pick right up where we left off. And I'm going to share a little bit of what was happening in my life when those poems were being written. So, starting with the honey and the knife. Graze knife over steel, dip it in honey. The sharpest blade requires some sweetener. The sugar doesn't mind the edge, you see. It flows around over between under. The reason you don't hone honey dippers is that they're all about the rough, the grip. So many edges, fingerprints, sugar. Dippers need grain or the honey will slip. Knives dreaming too long in honey won't slice. They have to find a new way in the world. Some do not care. The honey feels too nice. Sometimes you give it all up for a girl. A knife so crystallized has made a choice. When it stays still, it raises sharpened voice. So, when I was writing this poem, I had been let go from my job in the recent past. And I was just thinking a lot about whether that meant that I was bad or if I was just a bad fit for that place or some other third thing, perhaps. So yeah, I was just thinking a lot about, how often I had in the past felt like I was wrong when really I was just being used for the wrong purpose or in the wrong place for me. And I was actually not bad or wrong at all. Properly spent. To play the violin requires distance. Up close, a rasping whisper in your face. The horsehair of the string, it takes a chance. It trusts that it will reach its proper place. The edges of the sound are rough and raw. Do not be fooled by mixing board magic. The violin will allow you to draw so close if you accept what is ragged. The violin can harmonize alone, though it sounds gorgeous with some company. It can find acceptance within its tone and without from those hands that know to please. So draw the bow, but only with intent. The sweetest sound is time properly spent. I was feeling very single when I wrote this poem. I was not only dealing with losing my job, but I also had lost a long relationship in that same, not exactly in that same period of time. These were several months apart, but long term, it felt like it happened all at once. So I was thinking a lot about back when I was a little kid and I had the good fortune of getting to go to orchestra camp and interact with people who played string instruments. I was a flutist, but I thought it was interesting how the violin sounded so beautiful and pure from a seat in the back of the concert hall, but sitting next to someone, it sounded really raspy and really not unpleasant, but definitely not as delicate and refined as one might expect from hearing it far away. And I was feeling that way myself. I was feeling like if anybody got too close to me, they would see that I was somehow wrong or lacking or bad in some way. So I was just trying to work my way through all those feelings and feel less bad about myself. Hope. Hope is a quiet curiosity. It pads into your room on kitten toes. It settles itself down beside your feet. When you're ready, it will share what it knows. Hope thinks you might not trust it to be real. That's why its claw sometimes gives you a scratch. It wants you to know you're able to feel. That is the glory of life and the catch. Hope cannot root itself in ruined earth. To pour foundation, stones must be removed. No, this work is the kind that shows your worth. To you, that is, to whom it should be proved. Hope is beating a sword into a plow. It's working hard to let your heart allow. I was attempting to self soothe with this poem. I was writing words that I needed somebody else to be telling me, and I was having a hard time finding someone around me to give me the support that I needed. So, in the absence of anyone around who could tell me that everything was going to be okay, I was trying to remind myself that even hard things can still contain hope, I guess. To-do list. My task of late has been to choose substance, to over and over again appear, to trust others to hold me in this dance, to stay when others say they want me near. A ghost can learn a solid way of life, with time and help and patience in mistakes. Ethereal creature, I am no wife. No love ever thought I had what it takes. A phantom woman can claim solid form. She just needs proper resources, that's all. A life given a chance can become warm. I always get back up each time I fall. The to-do list is long, it never ends, but it's easier when I'm held by friends. I was post being fired in this poem, and I had finally gotten the courage to reach out and talk to some of my friends about it, and to my great not surprise, but to my great gratitude, they all were very supportive and did not think that I was the worst person in the world and still wanted to be my friend. And yeah, it just reminded me that, despite the fact that I come from a background that led me not to feel very optimistic about other people treating me well, their support at that time showed me that maybe that history is not the only way. I'm reading from my book, Give It a Home, for anyone who is not familiar yet. This book is available both from Barnes and Noble, and I also have a deluxe signed copy available on my website, thelizzycoshow.com. And that comes signed and with one of these stickers as well. And I also hand pack it and ship it right to you myself. So if that sounds cool, you can go to my website and get one of those copies too. Moving on. Brakes. I hit my brakes so many miles ago. I bore down hard, beheld the angry sparks. The passengers climbed out escape windows. They took their luggage and retrieved their hearts. My brakes can't grip at first. They need some time, some track to figure out what's going on. Always slow, even way back in their prime, and now they waken loudly with a yawn. What happens in the space between action and reaction? A processing occurs. Can you hear my good cat Lily meowing in the background? She's a big fan of poetry as well. What happens in the space between action and reaction? A processing occurs. A stillness in the motion of passion. The line between before and after blurs. Slam that stainless steel pedal to the floor and hang on to the handle of the door. I was feeling really shaken up by all of the change that was happening in my life as I wrote this poem. And I just wanted the world to slow down. And I think as adults, we all know that's not really possible for us to make happen. But that didn't stop me from wanting that to happen nonetheless. And I was thinking a lot about, I also walk by the train every day on my way to work. So Naturally, I was thinking about like, man, it takes them a long time to slow down, and I just wish that I could have some time to slow down as well. Hello, Lily. You want to make your debut? This is Lily. Lily is trying to get on camera, but she can't decide if she wants to be. Serpent. The serpent slips between the garden rows. She slithers here and there, all forking tongue. She tastes the air where the sweet berries grow. Where mice smell the serpent, little feet run. She shines beneath the rays of sinking blaze, all thick ropes, coils of muscle memory. She craves a stone where she can spend her days, a boulder holding sun for her beneath. Black as dilated pupils, her fine scales reveal nothing. Is she poison or safe? The whole town knows that dead men tell no tales. If you wish to approach, you trust your fate. The serpent rests patiently in the dirt. She's curious. You here to fight or flirt? I was in a period of transition. I was starting to feel like maybe I was ready to date again. But I was also really angry about what was happening to me in terms of getting let go from my job. So I was in a weird headspace. I probably wasn't someone who should have been dating. um, Probably it would have been healthier to just focus on myself and my own personal growth for a little while. But as we all know, we don't always make the best decisions when we're stressed out. Job searches. A man curls over latte and the news. Job searches for another man to be. That seeker of biblical proportions grew too restless in his life. He had to flee. Surrounding, crowds combine, vibrant strangers. Soap bubbles, converging, becoming one. Press in, come close, watch as curves rearrange. Choose carefully, it cannot be undone. The pages turn. Job rakes them with his eyes. One column, then the next, each line in turn. He knows just what he seeks, but where to find? A finished paper's only good to burn. If he would simply raise his eyes to see, perhaps he would decide to notice me. I was job hunting at this time, and I was also very dramatically comparing my series of trials to that of the biblical Job, because I was raised Catholic, and we all know that creates really healthy, well balanced adults. Uh, so I was thinking a lot about the all the people that I saw um, when I worked as a front of house manager in a cafe. I saw a lot of people job hunting there, not necessarily over actual newspapers, that's a bit dated, but I saw a lot of people searching for things they didn't yet have. And I felt myself really a kindred spirit to those people who were feeling a little lost, maybe, and looking for a place in the world they didn't yet have. Side note, that seeker of biblical proportions grew. That line, I don't think I've ever been able to successfully get through that until today. So I'm going to go ahead and give myself a high five for a new accomplishment. Hooray. Moving on. Litany. Let each of us have dignity at least. Let us feel worthy, loved, human, and whole. Let us have ready shelter from the beasts who seek to consume us, body and soul. Let each of us feel safe inside ourselves. Let us find what we seek when we reach out. Let us grow spreading wings of ringing bells and visit those far shores we've read about. Let us land softly where our feet alight. Let us find solid, floral, fertile ground. Let us warm our hands in syrup sunshine, feel where we will someday come back around. A person who is given what they need will find a way to give back what they seek. This was another poem where I was self-soothing. I was telling myself that I deserved to feel safe in the world, and I was trying really hard to tell myself all of the comforting words that I was having a hard time getting from anyone else around me. Um, yeah. And it was also, a wish that I was making for the people around me, not just for myself, because, the world was getting to be a pretty scary place at the time when I was writing this poem. Um, we were still struggling with the COVID pandemic, and, it was hard to know what new scary surprise would come next. So I was just making a lot of wishes for a better time to live in this poem. Black and blue. Out for a walk, I notice wind pick up. It kisses the left side of my sweet face. I glance that way, black cloud wall, ragged rough. The opposite direction, pale blue grace. I think I have some time before the rain. I grew up in the country, after all. One thing you learn to tell if you have brains, just how long it will be before drops fall. I settle at the park to write some words, the ones you're reading now, to be exact. Some little kids play nearby, tiny blurs. Their minds are filled with feelings, dreams, and facts. A roaming raindrop cozies with my phone. I guess I better pack up, head for home. So the poems in this book were not written chronologically. This poem came before the tough breakup that I went through when things were just kind of coming to an end, but we hadn't addressed it yet. So I was spending a lot of time out of the house. I was spending a lot of time um, just like hanging out, writing in the little park near my house. And this is a pretty sort of real time um, account of what was happening right then. I did. I was hanging out in a park. There were kids playing nearby, and I was kind of figuring out how much time I had left to just sort of hang out and um, enjoy the park before I would have to go home because the rain was coming. Wooden wheel. A year compressed into a single day. A loss, and then another loss. I cannot stress enough I'll be okay, though lately my poor ship's been getting tossed. The test, the question, cling tight or let go. A wooden wheel strains hard against the waves. The fish would tell me to join them below. The birds would say the air is where I'm saved. The lesson hurts a little less each time, but questions, they get mean when confronted. If wishing on a star is made a crime, show me on America's Most Wanted. A mermaid throws tresses over shoulder, advises me to act a bit bolder. Dealing with breakup stuff in this one. This one came pretty fresh after the breakup happened. And I was struggling in a new way because I was going through my first breakup as a person in her 30s, and I just had more life experience, and I knew that I would be fine. Even as it was happening, I knew I would be fine. And at the same time, it was still incredibly painful. And it was just weird because in the past, I had always just had the experience of things being incredibly painful without the knowledge that ultimately I would be okay. So just a strange new adult combination of feelings, I suppose. Revolutionary. I burned the village where we were captive, the handcuffs tossed in the cauldron to melt. Threw my chains in there too, couldn't help it. You would agree if you knew how I felt. Turn your eyes to the town celebrating, a crowd of prisoners all now released. If you feel trapped, you best get escaping. I didn't kill these guards only for me. Alarms are singing out, they harmonize. Don't worry, I'll shut down the power grid. Just focus on yourself and your own flight. I'll deal with the authorities' bullshit. Look at these wings, this face. I'm not afraid. I'll take the heat. Get out. Get yours. Get paid. I was starting to regain some self-esteem. I was starting to feel like maybe I could be a person who got fired and dumped and still not be the worst person in the world. I guess whether that's true is to be determined. Moving on now to chapter 4, titled Pussy Rage. For those just joining, I'm reading from my book, Give It a Home, which you can find on my website, thelizzycoshow.com, and giving you a little backstory for those poems inside. Tea time. If you can't stop him, try to enjoy it. That's what I heard the old lawmakers say. If you can relax, it won't hurt one bit. Remind me, just how were you dressed that day? Think carefully. The answer means jail time. Don't shame a good man just because you're a slut. Did you invite that boy to cross the line? Did you pull away when he grabbed your butt? Those skinny jeans don't slide off on their own. He had to have some help, I do suspect. Girl, don't bring this nice boy with good name down. It's his reputation we must protect. The old lawmaker works for him, not me. They're planning their tea time later this week. This one is basically a collage of things that I heard terrible lawmakers say in the news about, sexual assault survivors, or to them, or just in general being unhelpful for them. And this poem came shortly after I rejoined the online dating scene, and I was a little shocked at some of the behavior on there. And it reminded me that behavior doesn't come from nowhere, it comes from the top. Sweet air. I opened the window, tasted the air. A crowd of voices drifted up to me. A rough group of men headed to the fair, the type to tell you that's just how it be. A cozy club of boys so unaware that I had slipped outside to follow them. I craved to know if they could even care, or if they truly just act on their whims. I listened to them talk and never heard the fear that threads through girl conversations. They flew as light and easy as the birds. I was raised to fear them all as rapists. The air is sweeter for a straight white man. Acknowledge privilege. I know you can. I wrote this one when I was still employed at my job that I got let go from at the bakery. I was working mostly with straight white guys. It was there were a lot of times where I was the only woman in the room, and every once in a while they would make some sort of comment that reminded me that I was outnumbered, or reminded me that it was my job to control their behavior. And that always really pissed me off because, ladies, I don't know if you have ever been told this directly, but that's absolutely not your job. It's certainly not mine. And it really, really made me angry. And so I think it's for the best that I'm not at that job anymore. Fool. I don't concern myself with foolish men. I am intimidating. They cower. You're hard to read, one of those fools once said. That's the whole point. That's where lies my power. I'm not a newspaper. No headlines here. I don't care if my face is readable. But those lovers of words, bring yourselves near. For you, my hands and heart are all too full. A foolish man spies my straight spine and shies. Oh, gods, how to stand powerful women! Those broads who carry sharpened swords and knives, bodies toughened with soft hearts tucked within. No offense meant, little buddy, you're fine. Fools who love weak women will not be mine. This came from the Well, a combination of things. Somebody really did tell me that I was hard to read, um, at a former job, and I didn't really know how to take that because, um, again, I don't know that that's anyone's job to be easy to read. I think that's why we have questions. I think that's why we have words. Um, and yeah, I have found that a lot of people seem to have a real problem with someone just sort of moving through their life and not asking permission. Power steering. Some days I feel like everyone but me is equipped with built in power steering. Actuators shining, buffed up to gleam. Hydraulic or electric, they're the thing. Me, on the other hand, I'm manual. I need some muscle when the turning comes. Change so easy for others brings me hell. The power steering folks think I'm no fun. Don't look for actuators, there's no use. I had them, but they were taken away. I deserved to be power steering too. Abuse wins when it happens every day. Therapy time, a scrapyard, they're the same. Each one of them a puzzle piecing game. So, yeah, I feel a lot of the time, I feel like because of the way I was brought up, I'm missing some of the social skills that others have who grew up with a more stable childhood environment. And there are times when that can be a real burden and it can feel like a really heavy lift. And it can be really frustrating to watch other people do those things so easily, where I struggle really hard. And it's especially hard because it's never anyone's fault who's around me at that time. It's only the fault of my caregivers growing up. Bad bitch. Best recognize a bad bitch as she walks. Wise folks give her a wide berth on the street. Her gown is all 9 yards, feathered as phlox. Her style is just divine, it can't be beat. The bad bitch glances your way with a grin. She looks you up and down, evaluates. She just might take you home. Is that a win? Or will you learn the truth a bit too late? When you get close, the bad bitch grabs your wrist. The underworld is calling. Time to go. You wrench your arm from her grip with a twist. If she had asked, you would have told her no. Bad bitch is walking. Best keep your eyes down. Stay quiet till she reaches edge of town. I was just feeling really angry about life and everything that had happened to me. I was feeling really focused on myself. I was having a hard time seeing outside of myself. Um, and I just felt like maybe I was a bad influence after all, and that I was wrong and not good. So I was just not in a great headspace when this one was coming out of me. Facial. My facial care routine started at 10. That is 10 years of age, not time of day. I worried about wrinkles in my skin. I should have been focused on children's play. I wanted SPF against the sun. I feared under eye lines, she spider's lace. But what was I expecting to happen? Why was my self esteem appearance based? I grew up at the feet of a woman oversteeped in 1950s girlhood. To her brown eyes, it simply made no sense that people who look ugly can be good. The trick is, ugly isn't a real thing, it's just a made up, hurtful hornet sting. True story, I really did start worrying about my face care routine when I was 10 years old, which is much too young. No child should be worried about preventing wrinkles. That's pretty fucked up, in my opinion. Um, but I did grow up with a mom who was really obsessed with her own appearance, and she made it really clear that quality of life for a woman was based on her beauty, and beauty was based on looking young. So in my child brain, I thought, well, I already look young, so if I just preserve this, then problem solved. Uh, yeah, not great. Taste and see. Oh, taste and see, the Bible said to me, one little brown haired girl with hazel eyes. Oh, fear no evil, pages whispered sweet. Strong smell of incense overpowered lies. How lovely is your dwelling place, O Lord! How ugly was the daily life I saw. The nuns told me I would see my reward the day I laid in my funeral plot. I'm sorry, Bible, I gave you a read, cover to cover, every chapter a verse. I like to know the things of which I speak, voice unaccompanied by thoughts the worst. I tasted and I saw both book and life, each one a unique, gorgeous, sharpened knife. Yeah, grew up Catholic, heard a lot of contradictory and harmful stuff as a child. Probably could have done without all of that stuff and just focused on growing up and being a kid, but here we are. And I really did. I think I was either in my late teens or early 20s, and I got tired of hearing people quote the Bible and associate it with harmful things. So I just sat down and read it all for myself so that I could properly address those comments when they came up. Undeterred. A certain type of vulnerable's hot in women I have observed over time. But when it comes to the things that I've got, the boys don't ever want to come be mine. I cannot put my finger on the gap where my CV could use some bolstering. Each time I'm not the one, another slap, another time I'm tossed out of the ring. I cannot be the key if I'm the lock. I cannot shrink myself small and fit in. I submit to the power that I've got. I kill it when I lose and when I win. Is there a man who wants to be with that, undeterred by the feathers in my cap? I was venturing out into dating again when this poem happened. And I was finding that the a lot of the guys that I was getting attention from didn't really want me. They wanted maybe my face, but not necessarily anything behind it. And that just did not feel very good. And I was looking for somebody who actually liked me as a person and would like me even with a bag over my head, because that's how a good relationship starts. Finery. I grind my teeth at night studiously, the way a jeweler works away at gems. The mouthguard helps, but my jaw wants to be so hard at work forgetting where it's been. I wake to find my face in a grimace, my asshole clenched real tight as well most times. Never formed clear memories of the hits. When I try to look for them, I'm just blind. That doesn't mean they don't come back some days. I just don't get to choose when I recall the reasons for the times I feel afraid while folks around me seem to be so calm. Get me a set of loops so I may see the pins concealed within my finery. Yeah, got a lot of PTSD going on in this girl, unfortunately. And yeah, I do. I am a sort of a nighttime teeth grinder, tense sleeper kind of person because of that. Um, and it can be really frustrating to um, have experiences in the world that are stressful only to me and not to the people around me. It can be a great way to feel like you're going insane if you don't know what's happening. I'm not sure if you can hear, but Lily is adding her comments as well. um, but yeah, so So I had gotten back from the dentist and they were telling me I needed to get one of those fancy custom night guards for my jaw so that I wouldn't grind my teeth down to nothing. And I was just thinking about how that's just like another fun extra expense that happens when you're dealing with a childhood upbringing that maybe was not so good. All right, one more poem with backstory, and then I'm going to share the poem that I'm going to do at tonight's open mic, and then we'll call it a day. Brush fire. Where were you when the brush fire stole the trees? Asleep, curled up so tight in your blankets? I hope you understand the worth of peace. The brush fire burned bright, said I should thank it. My resin dripped slow down my legs, molten. My spines opened, long stiffened, so creaky. Above, the sun pierced the night sky, golden. All around my feet, piles of bursting seeds. A raging flame is made for a purpose. It will not be welcomed by all creatures. It does destroy. For some, it makes things worse. Damp flesh will be cut on its sharp features. The brush fire came, ignored all the road signs. It consumed all, whispered to me, "You're mine." So at this point, when I was writing this poem, I just threw up my hands and accepted that a lot of change was happening, and hopefully it would be good for me in some way. And in the meantime, I could maybe just write it out. So those were some poems from my book, Give It a Home, which you can find just a regular old copy like this from barnesandnoble.com. Or if you want a fancy signed copy that comes with a cool sticker like you see on the screen and is also hand packed and shipped by me. If you want one of those, you can go to thelizzycoshow.com and you can find that there. All right. So in addition to being a super awesome self-published author, I also do a weekly open mic at the Cantab Lounge in Cambridge, Massachusetts. It's a really good scene. If you're in the Boston area, you should come and check it out. Wednesdays at 8 p.m. So I'm going to share with you the poem that I'm working on for that tonight, and then we'll call it a day. Do not love me. Please do not love me. My ribs were not made with hinges. If you open me and remove my heart, it happens with violence. You leave me spatchcocked, sternum unlocked, closer than ever before to the two-dimensional world. I cannot be your girl. Please, do not love me. My bones will forget their form if they melt for you. I am no snail, I grow no shell, and your devotion leaves me softened in the rain, leaves me crawling for you so often that it cannot be healthy, cannot be something for my gain. Please, do not love me. Do not force me to use the parachute I keep unfurling and packing, unfurling and packing, unfurling and packing again. There is no testing, it seems, only trusting and release, defense and attack, dry land and the seas. Please do not love me. I am origami paper, and my skin will not forget where you touch. I will show it all, whether you crumple me or make me a bird so delicate among the rough. Please do not love me unless you will take away every drop of my blood and refill my yearning veins with yours, unless you will press my ear to your chest so I can hear the waves, unless you also know that the moon does not show its face when you do not sleep next to me, unless my cool breath is what you crave. Do what you must, just please do not love me. Thank you so much to everyone who joined today. I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to some of my poetry. It's so kind of you. If you liked what you heard today, I do release these episodes as a podcast, and you can also find that on my website, thelizzycoshow.com. I hope that you go ahead and check that out. And if you liked these poems, please consider subscribing to my Substack. I send out new poems every Sunday to free subscribers, and paid subs get an additional poem every Wednesday. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time for another episode of Live with Lizzy. Bye.